time out. Oh, thanks, Amanda. Hi, guys. Welcome to our Monday night call. We are going to recap this past Saturday that was so much freaking fun. Like, it was amazing, truly. We had a brand partner event here in Canandaigua and we sold out. We had 60 tickets, which was just absolutely fantastic to host a sold out event, like the first, I feel like, big sold out event since 2019. It was really awesome. And we had our new East Coast, I'm going to call him our East Coast guy. He is like the guy who takes care of us up here. His name is Dan Gazaway. And it was his first time coming up here to speak for us. He actually just started with Young Living 5 or 6 months ago, and he is fitting in so well. So, okay, we're going to recap the entire day. Do you guys want to hear what we chatted about? Do you want to hear how the day went? I know that Sue was there. Sue, what did you think? Share in the chat what you thought about it. So we kicked off at 10 a.m. and my mom, who has been with the company for, 26 years, I believe 27 years. She did a short segment on roots and wings. And if you guys have ever heard my mom speak, you know that she is so passionate about the foundation of our company and where we came from and all that Gary had to endure and go through to get our oils to us to create these products. And there's like the crazy roots that we have as a company, how we are so rock solid and we're not going anywhere. It was just really awesome to hear her share some personal stories. She shared 2 really cool poems. And one of them, she could barely get through because she was just sobbing the entire time. I'll post it in the group afterwards. And the other one, if you guys want to look it up, it's called The Cookie Thief. It was really, really cool. There are a lot of tears, as I feel like there always are when my mom speaks, because she just speaks from the heart and she's seen a lot. Like, she's traveled the entire world with Gary. She's been to Egypt with Gary. She's been to Oman with Gary. She's been to France with Gary and Ecuador on some really sketchy roads. Like, it's these stories that she has to tell from her traveling with him for so long. They're just absolutely phenomenal. So she told a bunch of her stories and she just really made you remember why you chose this company and how deep our roots truly go. And the different things that Gary, like I said, had to endure to get us where we are today. So her talk was so special. And then my aunt.
Can I share something real quick, Chels?
Yeah.
I just want to say, I think one of my favorite things about in-person events is getting to see Jill and Kathy and even you, Chelsea, you have so many stories with Gary and a lot of us don't have that. I had a couple years where I got to listen to him speak, but most of our brand partners, I feel never got to hear him speak or be in the same room as him. And when you're able to at least hear the stories, then it gives you that feeling of where our company came from. Because I think a big, huge part of our company is the heart that's in it. We're not just a company to make money. That's not how the company started. That's not what the company's about. And for people who are coming in, they don't necessarily have that because Gary was the heart of that. Gary was the one who literally just walked in the room and you knew, you could feel how passionate he was about helping people. And so I think it's really awesome when we can make it to these in-person events and get to hear all these stories because so many of us don't have those stories.
Thank you for sharing that. And I feel like I took it for granted when he was here, just assuming that he was always going to be here. So now looking back, they are so special. And you're right, it connects you to the heart of the business. Not even the business, the company. It connects you to the heart of the company. So then my aunt, she shared an excerpt from one of Gary's notebooks. So after Gary passed away, Mary was cleaning out a bunch of his stuff, and she found like tons and tons and tons of notebooks that Gary had just basically like, written in for years, kind of like a diary, almost like a journal, that he kept. And the story that she told was just amazing. It was really about like the power of prayer and the power of your mind, and having just the deepest faith in knowing that, your mind takes you, how do I say this? Your body goes where your mind flows, right? So she told a story about how he was in the mountains and he had a bad fall. And if you guys don't know this, Gary has literally been in like a ton of accidents. It was insane that he was like actually walking around as he got closer to passing, because he was just in so many freaking accidents. Like, it's crazy. Like, he's broken his back. He's had so many surgeries. He's gone through so much. So she was reading this excerpt from one of his journals, and he had fallen out of a tree, and he like got up and walked. He had like a spinal injury, and he got up and walked back down the mountain. And when he got to the doctors, they were like, how is this possible? Like, how are you walking? And he said that he was controlling all of the pain with his mind. And when he would let his mind slip back into thinking of, what could possibly be wrong with him, then the pain would flare up again. And it was just amazing to sit there. I was like glued to what she was saying, and to just hear this story about how he had literally had a broken back, and how he just used his mind and the power of our mind in our healing. And everything that we do, like everything starts with our minds. So my aunt told a really special story. And then after it, she gave this recipe for an antibiotic. And I'm going to actually read it to you guys. And it's an antibiotic regimen. And she said 3 drops oregano, 5 drops clove, 5 drops thyme, and top it off with copaiba in a vegetable capsule. So if you guys didn't get that, it's 3 oregano, 5 clove, 5 thyme, top it off with copaiba in a veggie capsule. Amanda, did you pull anything else from my Aunt Kathy's story? It was just like, as she was reading it, you could just feel Gary's presence. And
yeah, this wasn't from your Aunt Kathy, but I think this was from when your mom was talking. She wants a few things that I wrote in my notes from her were like focusing on the long game. Like, she told that story about like the boy who fell and like kept getting up and kept getting up and kept getting up. And she's like, that's how your business is. Like, you have to keep getting up and keep trying. And so talking about like focusing on the long game, like, what is your business going to look like in 10 years? Like, don't think about like, what's your business today or tomorrow? I mean, obviously think about that too, but like, seriously think about like, what do you want for your business? Not only today and tomorrow, but like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now. And she talked a lot about like legacy business owners, and I think that was going into yours then too. Then you talked that, so I'll let you finish that.
So then after my mom and my aunt spoke, I gave a presentation, and it was called Building a Business on Beliefs to Last. So I shared a personal story about how last year, like how it's so easy to be really positive about this business when everything is going right. When your business and your team is growing and numbers are going up and people are enrolling and the website's working and shipping's great, it's really, really easy to be super positive about this business, right? And then when all of that stuff kind of like stops and like, there's issues happening, and, maybe you're losing team members and people didn't sign up for the month, how you can get inside of your head and how you can, have these doubts and have these fears of, oh, like, is this for me? Should I quit? Like, what should I do? And so I shared a personal story about how I kind of went through that in 2021. And Then I shared about how instead of letting my mind like fall into the hole of like, oh, what leaders are leaving, what's the latest gossip, like what's going on, I started to look and seek out the opportunities. And when I started to look at the opportunities, my mindset completely shifted. So I listened to a Kristen Boss podcast that Amanda told me to check out. Amanda, do you have the number of that?
I'm going to pull it up right now and I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you. It's called Build for Tomorrow with Jason Pfeiffer. So I listened to that podcast, and in that, there was a quote that said, when you look at obstacles as opportunities, you are suddenly now using a different part of your brain, and you're able to access curiosity and innovation and see things through different angles. And I'm like, that is so interesting, because we say all the time that this business is 80% of our mindset. 80% of our mindset. And I just listened to a call that Ben Riley did, like literally 10 minutes ago. I finished it in our Diamond group. And I hadn't even listened to it before I gave my presentation. And he was giving tips for an unmanaged mind. And he's like, it all starts here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like everyone's feeling, and everyone's on the same path of like managing your mind and the importance of that, and the importance of looking for opportunities instead of looking at obstacles is like dead ends. So we all know, once again, just like Gary was, talking about in his journal excerpt, that your body goes wherever your mind flows. So if we seek the suck, we're going to find the suck. If we seek growth and opportunities, that's exactly what we're going to find. The mind is a muscle, literally, and however you train it is up to you. So I started to look for the opportunity. And when I did that, then everything started to shift for me back, right? Then I gave some tips on how you can start to shift your mind. So the first tip I gave was really discovering your why and like digging deep. So I went through a 3-layer why exercise where, say you like your why is, oh, I want time freedom. Why do you want time freedom? So I don't have to choose when I can spend time with my family. Why do I not want to have to choose? Well, I want to give my daughter and my future children the best 18 years underneath of my roof when I'm able to. And when I said that on Saturday, I started tearing up. And that's like when it hits you and your why should truly make you cry. So that's why like just saying, oh, I want time freedom is not going to make me cry. But really unpeeling the onion and the layers back to what's the deeper why behind time freedom. So then you answer it one time, okay, why that? Then you answer it again. And like when you really get to your true why, you should have tears in your eyes and you should be like, wow, like that is freaking powerful. So that was my first tip. My second one was setting boundaries. So in this business, like I feel like it's so easy to want to like be on your phone 24/7, to want to answer every single message, to want to like just be working. And boundaries are super important, and that was the first place that burnout really snuck up on me. So having boundaries with people, with who you follow, with what you allow into your space, and having boundaries with what you say yes to, and really deciphering like if you're saying yes to something because you feel obligated or because you truly want to do it. And also not saying, you really have to decipher and discern between like, okay, am I saying no to this because I'm fearful, or do I really just does this really not bring me joy? So you really have to discern between those two too. Then my third tip it was also setting boundaries, but I made it a bullet point itself, and it was separating and prioritizing work from home life, which is so important. And it kind of goes back to like being on your phones, your computers 24/7. We do this business because we want freedom and we want opportunities that we're not going to find in like a typical 9 to 5. So it was really a shift for me to prioritize my work life from my home life. And that really happened when I had my daughter. So for instance, like creating a separate working space. So it used to be outside on the back porch for me. Now that it's colder, I'm going to make it this here table over here. And when I'm at that table, like I'm doing work. When I get up from that table, I'm a mom. Like it's mom time, it's home time. So really separating the two of those. So that was one of them. And it can be so difficult to do this, especially working from home. And like we see the piles of laundry and we see the, sink full of dishes and we see like the toys all over the floor. But really being smart with the time that you do have to work on your business and not just getting caught in the scroll and really sitting down and doing your due diligence. And then number 4 was stop comparing. And it was stop comparing. If you were in this business prior to 2020, and it was stop comparing where you are right now to 2020, because that was a unicorn year. And I don't want to relive that. I don't know anyone in the world that wants to relive that. Stop comparing where you are now to how far you have to go. I feel like if we look at, down the road, oh, I want to do this, and it can seem so unattainable and so far away, that can really get us down. But when we are happy and we find gratitude in where we are right now and we fall in love with the process and the journey, then that keeps us in this long game, right? When you're happy with where you are now and you're happy with like the small daily wins and you celebrate those. So that was another tip. And also I mentioned that if you're not happy and grateful where you are now, you're not going to hold gratitude or happiness when you do get that big goal. Like that's all created inside of you. A goal isn't going to give that to you. Then I said, stop comparing where you are and what you're doing to where somebody else is and what they're doing. This happens a lot on social media. We compare the beginning of our journey to the middle of somebody's journey. And don't measure your progress using somebody else's ruler. I loved that quote because I feel like we often can do that and like not even realize that we're doing it and be like, oh man, like this person had like this many enrollments, like this person's doing this, I should be doing that. And it's really the biggest creator of doubt and insecurity in our business. We love in wellness chat about how biologically different we are. And the same goes for our personalities, for our businesses, for our journeys. So there is room for every single bit of it. Then my next tip was give yourself permission to let your boldness and confidence shine. So the mind, when you're focusing on building a business on beliefs, you have to be bold and you have to be confident in these products and in this company and in what you have to give and what you have to share. And if you don't talk about your products and your business, who is going to? That's really where your freedom lies, is in how bold you are, how confident you are. And that's where it starts, to just be bold and confident enough to let your light shine and to be confident enough. Confident people don't need attention. Confident people aren't shaken when they hear something that should shake them or could shake them. They respect themselves and they know what they bring to the table. And then my next tip, and I said, when you're confident, you influence the energy in the room and people become more confident in you. And I feel like the same thing goes for like showing up online and showing up in your stories. People can see and they can feel your confidence and your boldness through what you share, how you share it, what you say. So you have influence where you are. Then my next tip was start planning. And we have so many tools to help you start planning right here. And this really takes a huge weight off of your shoulders and off of your mindset, because when you start planning, you don't wake up and be like, oh, what am I going to post about today? What do I have to do, this week or next week? Like it's already planned and laid out for you. So it really helps you to feel so much less anxious, so much less frazzled. And we have like the checklist for you, the customer or the class worksheet. So utilize the different tools that we have to start planning. And I'm not just talking about like next week. I'm talking about like a month, 2 months, 3 months out. It really, really helps. The next is systemize and outsource what you can. And it took me super long to do this. I was trying to like create all of my own graphics. And you can run yourself ragged trying to do that. So we have a system, obviously, if you're on our team, already set up for you. Utilize that system that we have for you and download the Life Steps app if you don't have it already. And then outsourcing. This is really like Project Broadcast. And if you have a huge team, I would say like probably 300 people plus, check into Project Broadcast. If you don't know how to work it, then you want to look into outsourcing, something like that. But other things can be outsourced. Graphics wise, we do create a lot of graphics for you. So this doesn't really pertain to you guys. Yeah, Get Oiling is great too, Amanda said, when it comes to like graphics, because we have everything created for you. This is really for people who were on our team, who were at the event. And then we did a Kristen Boss coaching activity, which was really fun. And it was just all about managing your mind. We are going to plan on doing a challenge for that. I believe in January, we're going to do it. So once again, planning ahead, but just because January can be like a quieter month, it's first of the year, but everyone's like ready to go. So essentially it's called her thought model. And I'm going to totally talk about it a lot before we have the challenge. So people, get used to hearing it. They get used to knowing what it's about. But essentially it's a circumstance happens. And that's something that everyone in the world will universally agree on. Like the sky is blue. That's a circumstance, right? A circumstance happens that creates a thought, which creates a feeling, which then creates, what does the feeling create? An action or an inaction or reaction. And then that creates a result. Okay. So circumstance creates a thought, creates a feeling, creates reaction or action or inaction, which creates a result. So when you go through it, you'll understand it. And it just really helps you to manage your mind. Kristen is huge on that. So that's what I spoke about. Then we had lunch on our own. Then we came back and Dan, Amanda, do you have any good notes from Dan?
I do. I'll happily share. I have a bunch of notes from him. He was awesome,
Dan was
by
amazing.
the way. Yeah, he was so good.
A handful of us agreed that he was like the best speaker we've ever had come to our area from corporate, from like a business mindset and speak. He was so good.
Yeah, hands down, he was the best one that we've had from corporate, I believe. Yeah, he was really awesome, and he was super personable. So I hope that you guys get a chance to meet with him, or if not, I know we can always schedule, and by we I mean like you, me, whoever, like anyone, as brand partners, we can schedule like one-on-ones with them. They talk about that do you guys, this isn't a recap, but do you guys know about the monthly meetings that go on from corporate? There's like, I think they start at Senior Star. So if you're a Senior Star or above, they have a monthly meeting with like that corporate puts on that you guys are invited to. So if you don't know about those, put that in the chat and we can get you the information. But they always mention that on those calls, that you are always welcome to like set up a one-on-one with corporate, which is really nice because they can pull some more stats like for you than we can on the back office and stuff. So they like will deep dive into your organization and kind of give you like feedback on how you can grow and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, he was awesome. He talked a lot about like his 3 steps. So his 3 steps were contact, invite, and follow up. He's like, a lot of times we overcomplicate things and we make it like, so he talked a lot about like, basically he didn't say these words, but like, don't word vomit on people, which I know we've talked about on trainings too, like so many times. Like, we need to stop like word vomiting on people and just keep it simple. He's like, make contact. Like, how many people are you talking to? He said, if you talk to only 2 people a day, if you reach out to 2 people a day, that's an astronomical number at the end of the, I'm terrible at math, so don't put me on the spot, but it's a lot of people after a year, right? So 2 people a day. And he said, then after you contact them, right? Like after you're talking to them, then the next step is you invite them. So you have to have things, you have to be doing things that you're inviting them to. So like if it's a brand partner that you're talking, okay, 730 people a year. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot of people. Can you imagine your team if you had an extra 730 people on your team next year? That's nuts. So anyway, so then invite them. So like say you're talking to a brand partner, you can invite them to these business trainings, right? These are available for everyone on our team. If you have brand partners that are interested, invite them to the trainings. And if they can't make the trainings, you can invite them to watch the replay. All of the replays are available for you guys. And if you don't know, they're all in one spot. I made like a landing page. It's amandadewell.com/BP replays. It's all of our replays in one page. You just click on them and you can watch them. But if it's like a prospect, inviting them could look like inviting them to get a purchase, make a purchase, whether that's a kit or a custom bundle. It could be inviting them to a make and take. It could be inviting them to come to an event that you're having. It could be invite them to watch this Young Living video or a replay of one of our, actually, we haven't had like a big group like Oils 101 in a long time. We should probably do one of those.
Should we do it in person or online?
Well, I think we should definitely do both. I think we should have an in-person one, but we should do an online one that's recorded so that people can share with like things. But anyway, like just inviting them to the next step. It doesn't necessarily mean like having this whole big charade like planned. It's literally just inviting them to the next step. And then following up, like he talks about, and I know we've talked about it too, like following up is so important. And that's why we need systems in place, which is what I talked about, which I'll get to. But following up is where all of the fortune is. And here's I got some stats that he shared with us that were mind expanding. So he talked about, let me see where the stats are. Hold on. I think I wrote them on the next page. Yeah. 48% of people never follow up, and 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. So if you think you're going to talk to someone and they're going to buy something because you talked to them once, that's only 2% of sales. 48% of people never follow up. That is insane. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts, meaning like you only reach out to people 3 times. So I'll repeat that, only 10% of salespeople, so let's just say brand partners in this case, make more than 3 contacts. So only 10% of us make more than 3 attempts to talk with someone, to give them an opportunity. But here's the kicker, 80%, that's huge. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. 80% of people will not buy from you until you have had contact with them, a touch point, whatever, between 5 and 12 times. But yet most of us will give up after 1 or 3, right? 48% of people never even follow up. It's nuts. So he was just talking about how follow-up is so important. Then he made a whole bunch of like baseball analogies because he's a pitching coach. And so he made a whole bunch he told some really awesome stories that most of us didn't really gather because we don't do baseball, but they were so easy to like put in perspective for our business. So even though I didn't understand like the baseball aspect of it, I was like, oh, I get what that means in my business. It was so good. He also said like, you have to be sharing your Young Living story every single day. And that, then he talked about like the importance of having like your 30 to 60 second opportunity story, because you never know like when you're going to be in a situation where someone's going to say like, hey, what is it that you do? And he also talked about like time is more valuable than money to most people. So share about like time when you're sharing the opportunity story, or yeah, like he said, you should have like a product story, like of how you got started with the products, and then like an opportunity story of how you started with the business or how the business has changed your life. And he said you should throw in there something to do with time, because most people find time way more valuable than money. Like you can say, oh, you can make all this money, blah, 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 blah. But what people really want is time freedom. So he said it's important to be talking about that. And he said, one of the phrases that I wrote down that I thought was really good is he said, when he talks to people about an opportunity, he ends with, have I given you enough information to get started? That's what he says to them. Have I given you enough information to get started? That way they can either say, yes, I'm ready to get started, or no. And then he can ask, like, what else do you need? What else do you need from me to help you feel comfortable getting started? And I thought that was really good. He also said success is scheduled. So then I feel like everything this whole weekend just tied right into each other with all the different topics. It flowed so nicely. But he was talking about how success is scheduled. And then that was like exactly what Chelsea was talking about, like plan out your business. Don't do things last minute. And I know it's so easy to do, but if you plan out your business, it creates a more sustainable business, which in turn helps to like deflect that burnout, because a lot of people, there's a high burnout rate in this business. We don't want that to be you. Many of us have hit it, and we don't want that to be you, because it's hard to get over burnout. A lot of people don't ever make it over past burnout. So don't get there. Create a sustainable business for yourself. Let's see. He said you should be following up with a prospect within 24 hours. And then you should have 10 to 12 follow-ups after that. One thing I thought, so Jill kind of chimed in at one point, which I wrote down. One of the things she says when she's making her like care calls, which I know most people here probably don't do because we're the generation that doesn't get on the phone. But if you do get on the phone with people, she said what she'll say to people as soon as they pick up the phone is she says, hey, I know you're really busy, but I just have a short, quick courtesy call for you. So she's like, I make sure I say like short, quick courtesy call so that they know they're not going to be on the phone for an hour with you. And she said, and then stick to it. Don't like have someone on the phone forever. But you could even say that in a text message, like, hey, I know you're busy. I wanted to quick check in with you or something. He also said the only reason you're not a crown diamond is because not enough people know what you do. You need to be sharing your story and sharing it every single day. He also said the number one IPA or income producing activity is love. People know when you truly care. And he also said to read the book, The Power of One More by Ed Milet. He said, read that book. And then another book he suggested, or I don't know if it's a movie or a book. I think it's a book. Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor. He mentioned those two books. And he said the best people in business never get bored of the basics. You always have to be sharing the basics. Don't get bored of the basics. The way you present yourself matters, having confidence, setting daily goals. And then this was the activity he gave us. He said, I'll tell you guys, he said, we didn't do it there because we didn't have enough time, but he said, go home and answer these questions for yourself. So the first one was write down 5 things that have to happen to make this your best year ever. 5 things that have to happen to make this your best year ever. Then he said, number 2, you write down 5 top goals for this year. And you can still do this for this year, even though there's only like, however many months we have left, 4, 5, something. I don't know. I'm terrible with math. Whatever. The rest of the year, there's still time. It's not over yet. 5 top goals for this year. Then number 3, top 10 reasons why you want to achieve those goals. So not only are you writing down your top 5 goals, you're going to write down top 10 reasons why you want to achieve those goals. And this kind of goes back to Chelsea's layer, like 3-layer why. Like we're not just writing goals, we're thinking about why we want to achieve those goals. How is it going to make us feel when we achieve those goals? And then number 4, he said, what you do is you circle then your top 5. So then you, out of your 10 reasons, you circle your top 5 reasons. And then the last step is you write down everything you need to stop doing. Was it stop doing or start doing? I wrote down stop doing to achieve the results you want. So basically get really clear with yourself, like, what are you doing that is not moving your business forward? And what do you need to do that's going to make you achieve those goals? So I guess you're kind of doing both, right? Like, what do you need to stop doing? Like, what is a waste of your time? And what do you need to do to achieve those goals? He did say stop doing. Okay. All right. So hopefully you guys got that. And then after he talked, I did a session on simplified systems. And so I basically talked about how systems help us to, again, like tying into the whole thing, help us with that time freedom, help us so that we're not going to resent our business, help us so that we can feel less overwhelmed and more organized. And I think one of the biggest things for me with starting systems was feeling confident in moving forward and actually growing in my business, because now I feel like I have the systems in place to help me sustain my growth. Because I will share with you guys, one of the things that I think really hit me hard when I hit burnout was that I grew really fast in the beginning, which was amazing. And I'm grateful for that because it was wonderful. And it kept me going, but I grew so fast and I had no systems in place. So then it was like, I didn't know how to handle it. And so then I let my mindset, like my mind, kick in all those doubts, all those fears, like I'm not good enough. I can't do this. What was I thinking? I'm not like capable of having a team this big. So how am I going to grow to diamond when I can't even handle being silver, or whatever it might be. So one of the biggest and best things that I have done to help me overcome that fear of growing or that fear of hitting burnout again is setting up systems, because I know now I have the tools in place to take care of the people. So that's why I encourage people to set up systems. And I know some people are like, oh, well, when I get there, I'll do the systems. I'm telling you right now, it is so much easier to set up systems from the very beginning than to go back and do it when you have 100 people, 300 people, 2,000 people, 10,000 people, right, on your team. It's a lot harder to implement systems for 10,000 people than it is to do it for 5 or 60. Excuse me. Okay, so then I talked about the 3, I'm holding up the 3. I told you guys I was bad with numbers. The 3 steps basically for setting up systems. And those are having your system content. Simple, let me close my door. My children are supposed to be sleeping, but they're very loud in their bedroom right now. So system content, simple shareability, and then automating your systems. And so system content, like I just talked about how we're so lucky that we have all of that. Like Chelsea creates amazing content for us, you guys, for these systems. You seriously do. And it's so wonderful. Like none of us had that when we were starting. So it's so wonderful. Take advantage of it. And if you don't want to use those for whatever reason, there's tons and tons of resources available that you can purchase. There's like Grow Workspace, there's Get Oiling, there's the engagement source, there's the whatever Moon Collective one that Chelsea talks about a bunch. There's like so many out there that it's literally done for you. You can also always create your own. Nobody's telling you can't, but a lot of us don't have the time nor are like creative enough to do that. So not saying that we're not creative enough. I'm sure we all could do it if we wanted to, but I'm just saying sometimes it's easier just to like plug and go. So anyway, that's like your content for your systems. I didn't really talk much about what the content should look like because there's trainings on that there. The meat and potatoes of what we talked about at the event on Saturday was simply having a way to simply share something. So like a lot of times I hear people say, well, it's too difficult because like everything's everywhere. I don't know what to do and I don't know how to just like share with someone. So then I introduced the Boards app, which I know I've talked to you guys about a couple times. If you haven't downloaded the Boards app yet, please download it. We all downloaded the Boards app together. We did a tutorial, which I'll share with you. And here there's a little video. So in case you guys want to share with your teammates or whoever, right there, that landing page gives you a little 3-minute video that we watched, and it gives you the links to download it. And then what we did was we actually broke out into groups, and I created a board for everybody at the event, and we had topic folders. And so each folder was like a different topic. So like thieves, kids and babies, supplements, skincare, CBD, vitality oils, whatnot. And each table had a different folder, and they took 10 minutes and just uploaded information to it. So now everyone who went to this event has an entire board full of like 10 different folders of topics with information, pictures, graphics, shareables that we all just collaborated on. Took 10 minutes, but there was like 60 of us. So, but in 10 minutes, there's so much information in that board. So that was really cool. And that's something you could do with your team too, right? Like that's something you could do as a, like a fun activity or whatever. And so basically that was that. And then the third step, like I told you guys, was automating your systems. And we didn't talk about that at the event because there wasn't enough time. So I had people sign up for our trainings that we do on Monday nights on October 3rd, which is our next training. I'm going to be doing a training all about automating your systems. So I'm super, super excited. I'm going to go through and I'm going to teach you how you can automate stuff. I'm going to use Get Oiling as a big like source for that. So those of you who use Get Oiling, it's going to be awesome. For those of you who don't, you can still get so much value from the training, because even if you don't have Get Oiling, you can take what I'm telling you and incorporate it into whatever software it is that you use. Or if you don't have software, you can have some other system. But the whole point of having things automated and having a system is that like you need to have some sort of software to like do it. You don't necessarily need it per se. It will make your life a lot easier. So I would really encourage you, if you don't have either Project Broadcast, Get Oiling, or Life Steps, like you kind of really need one of those to keep things organized in your business. But anyway, so that was what I talked about. And then the last speaker was Grace, and she's not able to be on here today because she was out of town. But she talked all about sharing your story. I'm trying to find her paper. Hold on one second. She talked all about sharing your story, and she shared with us a podcast that I think Chelsea had suggested to her too. So if you guys want to write it down, I don't have the link for this one, Chelsea, if you want to find it, but it's called The Goal, like GOAL, Goal Digger Podcast, episode number 65. And she talked about like stories are like 22% more effective than a graphic. So even when you post like a picture on social media or whatever, you really should have a story behind it. And she was talking about like, and this really tied into what Dan was talking about too, like sharing your story with people and having something relatable, tying emotion to it, using love, like, and then tying back into what Chelsea talked about, like your 3-layer why. Like you have to have emotion behind your why and your stories that you're telling people. And she had a bunch of people come up and share their like elevator pitches or their stories with us. And like, I mean, you guys, like tears were flowing. These people have amazing stories, and I know all of you do too. And you may not think like it's like mind-blowing, like maybe you have a mind-blowing story, maybe you don't. But even if you don't, like stories, even just like for me, like the fact that my kiddos are 9, 7, and almost 2 now. I started when my 9-year-old was not even 1. And the fact that the thieves cleaner, I feel safe in my home because I know that I can spray thieves cleaner and my home is clean and he's not going to be poisoned by it. You hear stories all the time about little kids eating Tide Pods or like whatever because they think it's candy. Like, I don't have to worry about that because I have Thieves products in my home. And that might not be some like mind expanding story, but to me, like that gets me emotional because it's changed my life. It's changed my kiddo's life. It's made me a more confident, comfortable mother. And that is priceless. So like, that's just even one example. I'm sure you can think about other examples. And she talked about, this was the activity she had given us. She said, she gave us 3 questions to ask yourself. Number 1, what are you most passionate about Young Living? Like, what are your top products? Or it doesn't even necessarily have to be products, but like, what is it about Young Living that you are passionate about? Your most passionate products, experiences, whatever, something about Young Living. Number 2, what was your significant transformation using your Young Living products? So again, like I just talked about. And then number 3, why are you doing the business? So hers tied really neatly in with Dan's, like I said, and basically that you should have like 2 30 to 60 minute stories or opportunities to share with people. And one should be product based and one should be opportunity based. Oh, and Dan also mentioned how one of the biggest downfalls, I guess you could say, about Young Living is that many of us don't talk about the business enough. You go to any other company and they're like all about the business. And I know like it's because our products are so amazing and we share a lot of Young Living is yellow and we share with love and we're like, you know, we just want to help people, but we can help people not only like mentally, physically, emotionally, also financially. We have an amazing opportunity business-wise to offer people. And so we need to share that more. So that was pretty much what I got from the last half of the event. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add, Chelsea.
No, that was great. And obviously, guys, as always, we did a really cool like game and we gave away a ton of stuff.
Yeah, someone won a raindrop kit.
Yeah, we gave away. My mom always gives away like big ticket prizes, like the Raindrop collection and other collections. And it's just so fun when people, and she like made up these cute little treasure chests that had, what was in it? There was like a Mighty Pro. You have yours?
Yeah, I just opened mine literally like right before we
Nice.
got on. Hold on, let me like take off this blur so you can actually like see.
My mom is
Okay.
like the cutest when it comes to giving stuff away.
Yeah.
There was like a crystal in there, a nitro. It looks like
Yeah, let
an
me open it. It's an alkaline,
alkaline.
a nitro, an unwind, a lip balm,
Nice.
a cough drop, a little crystal, a Mighty Pro, and then hold on, there were more. And then a Ningxia packet and a Mindwise packet.
You like stuffed those.
There was so much. And then I also won 15
so
mil
fun.
of Peace and Calming.
Yeah, and
I
everyone
also
won something.
a very, very, very merry vanilla mint collection, which I don't have this, so I'm super excited.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Came
The
home with
scrub
so
is
much stuff,
amazing.
and there was like free like bags and like
Yeah, and then we just like had a ton of freebies. Oh my gosh, I feel like people loaded up on so much stuff. I feel like it's just so fun to give stuff away and let people know that they're appreciated and that, you know, we're here for them.
Yeah, she gave away a Roots and Wings collection.
Mm-hmm.
And we all got to, oh, and not to mention that, like, also there was so many oils passed around. Like, you got to oil up. Like, there was just oils upon oils all day long. It was so fabulous.
And we had Ningxia Red, and it was so fun. So that was, and free books. Jen said, yeah, we gave away a ton of free books, reference guides, like big, thick reference guides. Yeah, so that was like the whole recap. We were going to do fall stuff, but we literally used that entire time to recap all day Saturday. So that was our day. And people came up to us after and they were like, thank you so much. When is the next one? Can you do a big product one? When's the next brand partner one? So we're going to be working on that. Yeah, very, very soon. Sue said she won a golden touch kit. Nice. Awesome. Yeah. So that's it.
Tell people what the next upcoming calls are so that they know what's coming up.
Yeah. Do you have
and also guys, it's the end of the month. So this is the end, this week is it. And then we're starting a new month. So hopefully you guys have achieved all your goals. If not, you still have time. There's still a couple days.
Yep. Do you want to share the upcoming calls? I have 4% left on my computer, so if this thing shuts off.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's
I
see
put my
here.
card in.
So I don't know if we shared with you guys, the kickoff calls are going to be Facebook Lives now, because it's hard. A lot of the days fall on
So
like
many
weird
fun
days that
weekends.
people can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many fun weekends, and it's just like a little difficult. So
So the
we'll do-
kickoff calls will be the Facebook Lives. And then October 3rd, we have, like I told you guys, the automate your systems. So we're going to go over automating. October 10th, there will be no call because it's Columbus Day. October 17th is going to be utilizing the Life Steps app. And that one's actually going to be like a two-parter. So the first half is going to be like all about how customers can use it. So we're going to invite like customers, like people who aren't brand partners can hop on this call and learn how to use this Life Steps app to get information for their products. And then the second half will be specifically for brand partners on how to use the Life Steps app for sharing. And we're going to talk about, hey, get that. Oh, my cat just stole the feather that your mom gave me.
Oh, no.
He went under the bed with it. It's like a gold tipped feather. What
He's
the
gonna
heck?
dump it.
He just stole it. He came over here. He snuck over here and he was grabbed it and ran under the bed. Little
Naughty. Oh my gosh. We can give
anyway.
you, we'll send you another one.
Anyway, so oh, and I was saying like the free version, right? Like the pro version's great, but we're going to share with you how to utilize the free version. And
Yep.
then October 24th is going to be all about prepping for the holidays. And then October 31st, we have no call because it's Halloween. And then we'll run into November, which we don't need to, we have calls already set, but we'll leave that until October. So that's what we've got coming up for you guys. Oh, and our Let's Be Frank call next month is going to be on ADD, ADHD. So if you have any stories or you know anyone who would like to speak at it, let them know. If you know anyone who could use that information, make sure you're inviting them. That'll be on the, what is that? The second Wednesday of the month. All right.
Yep. Second Wednesday of the month. ADD, ADHD.
Yep.
Yeah.
Guys.
So remember, they're not recorded because we talk off topic about them.
Yes, those are not recorded. Thank you, Jen.
Yes.
Those are one and done.
Yep.
I accidentally recorded the last one, but I'm not going to post it. My computer just like automatically records on Zoom. So
That's okay.
yeah.
All right, everyone. We hope you have a great rest of your Monday.
Bye. Thanks for jumping on. See ya.